Hello and welcome to the Initiative Order and welcome to our next session of Agents of Dune. And I am beyond and absolutely still thrilled and stoked to be running this as I'm a big nerd, but I also have a killer party. But before we jump into introductions and all of my players and getting to meet them and setting the stage for tonight's antics, I'm going to give a quick shout out to all of our sponsors here at the Initiative Order. First things first, we got Session Zero clothing. They have a D&D inspired streetwear. Use order at checkout for 15% off there. That is just the word order. We have Norse Foundry. They're artists and dice makers on my Christmas list. If you want to know what to send me, look there. You can use code TIO15 at checkout for 15% off there. We have Mithril Armory. They're the creators of the insane little metal 10D20 dice puzzles that kick my happy ballhiney, but maybe they'll do better for you. I still did better than Cody Hill. If you don't know who that is, ask, at Stiletto DM, and she can explain that dynamic. But you can use code initiative in their shop for 10% off, as they do also have other merchandise and dice as well. And of course, I myself, under the moniker of Umbral Oculus Dice, am also a sponsor of the Initiative Order. And I'm back in the shop and getting ready to send out free dice to all of my sponsorship people because I love them. But when I have stuff in stock, you can enter in code initiative in my shop for 10% off full sets. So that's a thing as well. Obviously, all of our subs, bits, etc., that you donate here go to support TIO and, of course, all of our initiatives and charities that we support as a community. So let's go ahead and jump in and start to get to know our players tonight. So introduce yourself and your character. Let's go ahead. Let us start with the one who was missing last time, Sherrick.
Yeah, hi. Hello, I am your favorite burb on the internet. You can call me Sparrow, a Black Sparrow. You can call me Sherrick. I am a Twitch streamer when I feel like it, podcaster, entertainer, host, actor, etc., etc. And I will be playing Alice, the Bene Gesserit spy master, who is coming in to see what she missed while she was away doing something. And from there, I think I'll pass it on to Miguel.
Oh, hi everyone, I'm Miguel. I'm also TTRPG performer, streamer, and dreamer. I will be playing Jiro of House Nagara tonight. Jiro's the younger of the two Nagara siblings, somewhat of an aloof socialite, but I think he really gets, knows more of what's going on than he lets on. It's sneaky like that. And since we're handing it off, I'll toss it over to Nate.
Hey everyone, my name's Nate Bushman. I'm a photographer. I like the waves. I'm a photographer, designer, sometimes tailor, occasional GM that you can find on our Discord, running games here and there with some stuff possibly coming up in the future. I'll do socials later. I play Zafir Kallas, who, just like I said 2 weeks ago, like the sword uncle who just wants to give all the kids swords to play with and teach them how to use them. Nothing wrong can happen with that at all. Nothing.
Hi, I'm Jess. I am your average tabletop RPG player. I'm an actor, internet person, screamer at the void. That's me. You can find me on Instagram at j.rancor. Everywhere else, Goblin Queen with 3 E's. I am currently playing Natalia, who is House Nagara's mentat. She's basically a human computer, and somehow has become the team's sweet little cinnamon roll. And I'm very poisoned, very assassinated, attempted. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're fine.
Yeah, because the mentat is super important in the world of Dune, as they are completely necessary for any and all space travel, because thinking machines are completely outlawed because of human history. And if you want to know more, you should read the books because they're good. Do the thing. So before we get into tonight, there's a beautiful quote in my little handy dandy book here that I wanted to read that I feel really sets the mood for the coming sessions. When I am weaker than you, I ask you for freedom because that is according to your principles. When I am stronger than you, I take away your freedom because that is according to my principles. And with that, let's roll our intro. All right. So last episode, it began with House Nagara. Of course, short there Bene Gesserit, receiving the letter from the Countess basically saying, you're all big boys and girls. It's time to step up for House Nagara and represent us as a house. We have been handed the great honor of taking over dominion over Arrakis, and which you all know, of course, is the place where all spice is harvested, which is absolutely necessary and sought after all throughout the universe. So, but with that, obviously, the Harkonnens are handing that over to you all. And being the kind hosts and generous people that they are, they not only are helping with this transition, but they're also helping to train the young House Nagara heirs to properly maintain the work that they have put in on Arrakis, also called Dune by its people. So, first things first, you arrive, you meet your teachers, and you begin training. And your first simulation, you did manage to succeed. The first simulation, the flight simulation, you did manage, although a bit clunky when trying to process through the machines and the computers. You had a few moments, however, Natalia, being your mentat, stepped in and did her job. After this, you had a bit of downtime and then began what was going to be your fieldwork training. During this exercise, Natalia and Shizu did manage to actually disable the cameras and the security in order for the rest of you to make it through a sealed door. However, when fumbling through the sealed door, it alerted the guards. Of course, this is a simulation. As you begin to make your escape, as this has completely failed and you did not achieve any of the goals you had set forth to do, suddenly something goes awry. There's a whooshing sound. Natalia feels a sharp pain before beginning to lose consciousness. Another is fired and stopped. As everyone is ordered to stand down, one person in particular did not and was tackled by the other guards. Before you guys could intervene at all, this individual who had attempted to attack or assassinate you was hauled away. You were all asked what happened, while Natalia was being taken away to the infirmary to be treated for poison. And although it has not been more than a day, time feels like it stretches forever for you guys. The past day is like little more than a blur. You have practice and everything else, but crisis after crisis. And you go back and forth to see Natalia while they're in the infirmary before eventually getting the good news that the poison was able to be counteracted in time. There's no permanent damage. And you are, as a team, still whole and intact. You also have received news that Alice, which is Jiro and Shizu's cousin, will also be arriving soon, the Bene Gesserit. Now, the Harkonnen Suk physician explains that this poison was a 2-stage combined poison. Each stage was probably smuggled separately past the Harkonnen poison snoopers initially, because as you recall, there have been people watching you all like a hawk to avoid any such poisoning. But because each of these parts is not lethal in and of itself, it was not detected. So the bad news, however, is that wasn't supposed to have happened at all. You weren't there to see what ultimately happened to your attacker, but knowing your host as you all do, it's highly unlikely that they're even still alive. So any hope you have of finding the details from your attacker are kind of slim to none. Natalia is discharged and arrives back in your quarters. Natalia, no sooner do you arrive back in your quarters to your little dormitory lounge area that conjoins all of your rooms, that the door slides back open and there stands Alice. So, Alice, the door slides open. You have heard word that Natalia has been discharged from the infirmary after an attack. You have no details, as they will not divulge them. As you walk in, Jiro, Zafir, and Natalia, you're all hanging out in your quarters and you have the room.
Cousin Jiro.
You're muted.
Yeah, I was. It was a test. I did not pass. Greetings, cousin. How were your travels?
Unimportant. What happened here?
Well, as it so happens, our gracious guests, the Harkonnens, have been putting us through some simulations and examinations, we'll call them, to ready us for our journey to Arrakis, to take over the desert planet as its new stewards. And in the midst of one of these tests, which in my opinion looked bad, but I still feel like we could have turned it around in our favor. But before we were able to do so, some ne'er-do-well assassin poisoned our dear Mentat. So really, I feel like that's going to be an incomplete for us on that exam. We may get to retake it, I believe. Unclear.
Alice is once Jiro finishes, is going to kind of just give him a slight nod and turn directly to Natalia. How are you feeling?
Well, quite woozy, but the old brain is as sharp as ever, dear Alice.
You can be honest with me. How are you feeling?
I'm nervous. I think us not getting a good passing grade on that test really puts a dampening on our overall score, and I think that's what worries me. And of course, the protection of Shizu and Jiro here. I mean, if someone like that snuck in so easily the first time, who's to say it won't happen again during another trial? Technically, there's very high possibility.
And when you say protection, Alice kind of like looks over her shoulder back at Zafir, but doesn't say anything, and then looks back at Natalia. So it appears the smarter choice would have been to come along with all of you to ensure success. But
we certainly could have used an extra pair of hands and eyes.
well, indeed, that is something I'll have to worry about for later. So
You will
Now-
immediately notice before, like, as you're looking around, you will immediately notice Shizu's absence. And Jiro and Zafir, you both know that Shizu is taking this very seriously and has, in any and all extra time, has been dedicating as much of that as possible to combat training. And has basically been apart from a lot of your simulations over the last 24 hours.
and Shizu,
Well, predictably, she has redoubled her own training, and I believe it is currently down at the sword shop, whatever she calls it.
Yes, you know, Shizu, her dedication to her physical craft and the duty that she feels towards her house. I think she is quite frightened if anything like that were to happen to her or her brother for House Nagara.
I see.
He's doing what is necessary. That's the only word I say on that one.
And Natalia, did they tell you anything of what you were stricken with?
No, not a whole lot of information. Unless they did.
all you know is that it's the two. All you know is that it was a two-part poison that combined, and luckily you were not hit with enough. If you had been hit with the second dose, which that second dart was intending, it would have been lights out.
Would I know any sort of like specific poison that I know takes two parts, or that needs?
There is like an extensive list.
Okay.
I mean, because basically the way that they brought it in was they brought it in two components that when combined become a poison. So it could have been any number of herbs, any number of chemicals or herbs or anything that would have gone undetected and unsuspicious otherwise. But only when combined do they make owie.
Yeah, I say to Alice, it was a very common combination. Who's to say exactly what it was? A very high number of possibilities there.
Who's to say, indeed? And with very little beat, she turns back to Zafir and says, "Did you happen to see what was this person dressed as a guard? How did this person get so close?"
I'm ashamed to admit that even with all my training, I have no idea how this happened or why it happened. And you see that he just looks utterly distraught a little bit, looking at Natalia. Like, I just feel awful that I was not there to, see what was, I had foresight or something just to be able to protect her, but I have no idea. It was very, very odd.
I think we all put some percentage of our guard down during these simulations, being perhaps a little too trustworthy of what and how real these simulations were.
I must admit, I have a hint of surprise hearing that, Natalia. I feel as this is quite the serious honor that our house has been given, so keeping the guard up at all times seems like the play of wisdom to me. But I am not here to, what is the expression? Kick you while you are down. So let's instead focus on finding out as much as we can about the first of what I can only assume will be many attempts on all of us.
Shortly after this conversation, you have some more time to rest and settle in before eventually you're all summoned to your usual meeting room. You immediately notice a difference when you walk in. There are additional poison snoopers near the food tables. Additionally, portable poison snoopers are like nearby each and every person eating in reach of plates. There's an extra glimmer in the corner that catches your eye, and you recognize the spy eye, which is extremely obvious of where it's placed. It's of course the technological lens that is a camera lens. Knowing House Harkonnen as you do, there are probably several more hidden around this room that you cannot instantly see. However, it is reassuring to know that your allies are taking your safety seriously in this moment. Turo sits tall and statuesque at the head of the meeting table as usual. They motion towards the food table invitingly and wait for you to choose your food and drink and to be seated. Do you all?
Oh yes, Jiro's never one to shy away from proper etiquette. So, probably selects something, a nice spice wine, most likely as far as the drink goes, and then just like a little smattering of food, whatever's there, and like sits.
Alice will follow along with Jiro. She is very close, not like super close, but close enough, close enough that you would notice, she's keeping very close attention to this.
Well, and as you take your seat, you do notice Turo standing at the head, give a mild, like a very obvious but kind of subtle nod to you, acknowledging that you are now present with House Nagara. Alice. Niren is updating our superiors and improving our security measures. We have conferred earlier this morning, and for today, you are my pupils alone. They take a moment to consider their next words. You can see it in their face. We, the entire house, are concerned at yesterday's events. Rulers and leaders, though, should not hide behind walls and fear for their very lives. They must press forward, undaunted, unfazed, and unstoppable. You cannot appear weak. So you feel your blood grow slightly warm. You can tell there is a sense of urgency and kind of a call to arms a little bit. With that in mind, we need to proceed in consideration of how best to assist your house. We have been able to ascertain that your attacker was operating under the orders from House Vernius. Now, House Vernius of Ix has always been at odds with your family. You immediately, your blood starts to boil, like the back of your neck gets hot. Both houses are renowned for their technological prowess, and it took a lot of hard work for House Nagara to earn the fiefdom of Arrakis. You expect Vernius to feel burned by that, but you didn't expect them to take such pointed vengeance towards you. Not this directly. Almost as though reading your minds, Turo continues, seeing the rage grow in your faces. If Vernius is being bold enough...
Will you just shut my door then?
If Vernius is being bold enough to try to reach you even here, it's almost certain that they will have something in store for your fiefdom of Arrakis. You must be prepared and watchful, House Nagara. And with that, Turo turns to you, Alice, and then back to Zafir. The last thing you want is for Vernius to upset your spice production, as we have struggled and worked for years to maintain that and bring it to the level of success that it is. Niran and I have discussed your options, and we feel that it is wisest to investigate any further threats. There is a chance that your attacker might have been in league with a small cell of operatives on our own planet. Unfortunately, he is unable to answer further questions. Turo looks mildly annoyed as he says that. There is a way to find this out, though. An individual is known to us named Kushan. Turo explains the name falling from their lips like a sour taste. You can see kind of this bitter look across their face. He prefers to operate out of the busier squares in Low Market, where it is easier to hide. The reputation he has built up is one of secrecy and efficiency. If you need something that is illegal, unforgivable, and otherwise distasteful, his is the first name you'll hear. Of course, people of Low Market believe him uncatchable by local authorities. This is, of course, a lie. We have an arrangement. And with that, Kushan, he provides us valuable information and connections as needed. He informs us of any dirty dealings on Gaiety Prime. When asked, of course, in return, we allow him to operate seemingly beneath our notice. If there are still operatives here, he will know it. This will require delicacy and careful communication, as Turo turns to Jiro. He will not be seen giving this information to House Harkonnen. That would be catastrophic for all parties involved, and it would reveal him to be the rat that he is. And if there are any agents around, they'll want to go deeper into hiding to evade that capture. My friends, the time for practice is over. And with that, Turo finally sits down and begins eating, leaving you all briefly to discuss what is about to take place.
It seems like we have a task before us, friends, to find this Kushan in the Low Market and see what he knows of our would-be assassin.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I find myself in no need for any further rest, so Natalia, are you feeling well enough?
I believe so. Yes.
And I have questions for this person.
Keep your guard up, especially based off the way that and I point to who just talked to Taryn. It's like our lovely host here seems to not appreciate or like this person, so I would take it as a very good warning to keep our guard up.
Oh, certainly, Zafir. I have no intention to, nor do I have any designs on these questions being asked in any sort of good humor. This will require a more surgical approach, I think.
There is certainly a 100% chance this is not going to be a very funny meeting, yes.
I concur.
With that, you go about your meal, and eventually you are taken down through quarters, and you are all, you can see in front of you, gear kits, disguise kits. And Turo has seen to it that you are all disguised into multiple layers, outfitted with randomized, bulky breathing apparatuses. As it is explained to you, since the Low Market is a slum community here on Gaiety Prime, a lot of people purchase whatever breathing filters are available or otherwise build their own, as it is a grim reminder that while you are free to walk around and breathe freely in your allies' holdings, the air outside is polluted, thick, and hazardous to breathe for long intervals without filtration. You have been given a passcode phrase that you must give to Kushan, so he will know that you are to be trusted. And I'm going to regret this, but Jiro, would you like to decide what that phrase is?
The slow blade strikes fast.
Okay. You are dropped off half a mile from the furthest edge of Low Market. You have been given your directions, and as you make your way into the slums, the difference between this place and Upper Barony is striking. You went from places, obviously it's very industrial in appearance, and there were things that were still smoggy, but once you get down here, it becomes grimy. Tar, oil, the smell alone, you can smell like dirty old engines. That smog, even through your breathing apparatus, it's still present. And you truly begin to understand both the class mechanics of this planet and also how truly revolting it is, especially compared to your homeland. So now, as you begin to make your way into Low Market, we're going to begin with our first series of tests. So basically, you will be rolling understand tests with a difficulty of 2. Obviously, consider your drive. So choose the drive that in this moment, what is driving your character the most, or even ones, feel free to choose ones that have your drive statements that are your strongest suit. Just explain to me what kinds of actions you're going to be taking and why. Yes. So you are all allowed to roll and understand, and again, choose your drive, and just let me know. You guys do at the moment have 3 momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So you may spend 1 momentum to get another dice if you would like to roll more than 2, because it is a difficulty 2 test. But there are 4 of you, so feel free to do your thing and let me know what you roll on your understand.
What exactly are we trying to understand?
You are trying, so as you're beginning to look for Kushan, you are trying to understand the world around you. As in the best way to put it is trying to understand the things that are happening around you and to and understand and see how the people are acting so that you can fit in and maybe get, because this guy is hiding somewhere down here. So you're trying to, the best way to put it is you're trying to understand your surroundings as the best way to pinpoint him. Because right now you've literally been just dropped off in the slums.
Okay. For Alice, I'm looking at justice and power. I don't really have a statement for justice, but I think that a lot of people probably in this lower area have a distinct definition of the word justice. And so I think she's looking for that. And then power is authority attracts those who are corruptible. So there's probably a lot of people who think that if were we not disguised, we would be very, very corrupt, high ranking individuals. So those are the 2 I'm going with, which would give me 12.
Go ahead and roll 1 more d20 because you get 2.
Okay.
So you're trying to, so yeah, roll your 2d20 and you're rolling below your 12.
I got a 10 and a 2.
That is 2 successes. And with that, you immediately, because of what you're looking for, there is a mannerism particular to the residents that you do see walking through. When they walk, they usually try to mind their own business. Eye contact is quickly avoided. These are people trying to survive on a planet whose primary rule seems to be eat or be eaten. That is what you pick up on.
Okay. And I think Alice would very quickly relay that to the rest of the group.
Jiro, Natalia, or Zafir?
I think, Jiro is going to be rolling with duty. Right. My duty statement, repay what you owe. And right now I feel like I owe these Ixons a fixin'. Not real. I'm the heir apparent, the representative of House Nagara on this little detachment of ours right now. With the absence of my sister, the duty falls on my shoulders to, I'm here to represent. So duty is an 8. Understand it's a 6, that's 14. And I understand I do have a focus on etiquette. I don't know if that helps here, because I feel like maybe I'd be scoping like the people's, etiquette, mannerisms, like the way they're interacting with or not with each other. So I don't know if that helps. I don't know how that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a 4 and an 18.
4 and an 18. With that, because of what you're watching for specifically, I will say that you don't pick up on too much. Kind of nervous, but you do notice that there are very few women or children on the streets. Whether this is because they're hiding or otherwise not present is not known to you.
I let my compatriots know. I was like, my friends, it seems to be quite a number of fellas down here compared to most other folk.
Natalia or Zafir?
Natalia. Oh.
Nope, by all means.
Natalia, taking in what Alice said and taking in what Jiro said, her drive of truth, if I do not know it, it is irrelevant, comes in. And so I will be using truth, and understand is 8 and 7, which is 15. I rolled a 1 and a 2.
That is a critical 6, so that is 3. So with that, first and foremost, you realize that the market is a jumble of people of all shapes and sizes. However, heights, sizes, you can tell. And then you're also noticing that the variety of breathing apparatuses range from anything from a small nose clip to full face masks. And Jiro was right. These breathing apparatuses will make this much easier for you to blend in. So you are starting to pick up on the idea that it may be fairly easy for you guys to actually try to blend in.
Yeah, I give that bolster to Zafir, and I lean to him and say, "Don't look so nervous. 80% chance that all of us are fitting in right now."
Good to know, and always easier said than done. With mine, understand, and I'm going to go with truth, mostly because the statement feels very poignant. A keen blade cuts through lies. And considering the events of what have happened and where we are standing right now, I feel like Zafir would be more heightened than usual. But also just trying to find the truth in all of this as to what's happened is paramount on my mind. I feel like he failed his duty to protect a member of his house, and he wants to do right. And that would have been, for a combo, it would have been an 11 together, and I got a 6, and I got a 5.
That is 2 successes. And with that, as you're looking around, you're now certain that looking around, you immediately know that your best option is to attempt to blend into the neighborhood, because looking around, you can tell that people will be suspect if you do not try to blend in. You know that this person is no idiot. If they see strange people walking around the market, they're immediately going to notice, and they're probably going to want to go the other way. So the other thing you notice is that while even you're on the outer edge of the low market, and it's fairly quiet, there is a constant hum of sound more towards the center as you walk. It's already that loud, even though you're all the way out here. This isn't a great place. But because of everything that you've all picked up on, you can all now attempt to specifically blend in and actually lower the difficulty for other checks in this area. So I will need all of you to roll discipline. Discipline checks, obviously choose whichever drive. Just choose it and go ahead and roll, and just let me know. This will then, because of all of that, be a difficulty 2 task to blend in. You do have 3 momentum. If you need to spend, one for the things. But go ahead and just roll those, and then let me know how many successes you get.
2 for me.
1.
I got a crit again. I got a 1 and an 8.
Okay.
Just 1 success.
Okay.
And burn a momentum and roll another.
You can only do it before.
Oh,
You have
never
to
mind
do
then.
it before.
Too late.
Yeah, that is okay. But let me.
I can bolster. I have a talent.
You can.
Once per scene, when an ally fails a skill test, I may immediately spend 2 points of momentum and allow that ally to re-roll their dice pool. When they re-roll, they may use my discipline score instead of their discipline score.
I will say you don't have to do that, but do take note of that ability because at least half of you succeeded on this. So you do manage. It's a little bumpy for a minute because Jiro just has like this natural swagger that he kind of struggles to let go of. There's just this grace and stride that Jiro has, and as he's walking.
It's true.
Alice, you kind of find yourself and you take kind of a knee to the back of his leg and it kind of remind him to get back in line, to kind of snap out of it and look at the people around. Zafir, you're a little nervous getting into this still, but you look back over at Natalia as they seemingly blend into their surroundings and you take ease and you all manage to blend in. And with that, you will all get a trait for this scene, which changes the way that the scene works. And with that, the difficulty for moving around this low market and communicating with its denizens is now reduced by 1. So you guys are going to have an easier time communicating here. So the market is crowded and cramped, and you are all josted about in the throng of all of it as you try to look for Kushan. But one thing is clear, he is not going to be easy to find, and your best bet is to split up and to use different methods to locate him before someone notices you as outsiders. You will not only need to find him, but also locate a good place for you to talk. So with this is an extended task. This extended task has a difficulty of 2. Meaning that the skill checks will be a 2. However, with the trait that you had, it's a difficulty 1 for all skill tests related to it. And this is an extended task with a success of 6. So you have to have 6 successes in order to complete this task. Each of you can only roll a maximum of 2 checks in order to achieve this. Such options are communicating with the people to try to see if they'll tell you, to get if anyone will give that up. Discipline is to maybe exude maybe a non-threatening demeanor so that maybe people are not so intimidated by you that maybe they'll go ahead and be like, oh yeah, so-and-so's over here. Or alternately, you could take discipline and be intimidating and try to brawn somebody into something. Obviously, move tests are going to be to disguise yourself and slip unknowingly between things and avoid being seen by people. And then, of course, obviously, understand tests are going to help you comprehend the details of what is going on around you and discern for yourselves which location in low market might be a good harbor for him. So, you have the low market to begin looking. So, tell me the kinds of tests you would like to make using those skills and what you're doing when you do so to achieve your extended task of locating him.
I start kind of window shopping, going around to stalls, picking up the odd piece of something here and there, and just start chatting up vendors, anyone whose ear I can bend, I think I'm trying to communicate, use my focus in persuasion to just casually talk about, looking for someone who might dabble in information, less tangible goods, you might say, something more in the realm of rumors and whispers, that sort of thing, and just kind of start just putting feelers out to whoever I can chat up. And my communicate is a 7, so with my duty, it's a 15. And I'm just going for it. A 4 and a 17.
4 and a 17. 1 success. The difficulty is at 1 because you guys are blending in really well. It's a little rocky at first because you say it's almost like your dialect or something. Like they're picking up on the way you're talking and they're kind of weird. But after the first booth, you get the hang of it and you start to get in and you start to pick up whispers. There's a couple guys that are like, further towards the center of the market. Like you kind of just see him like or they're like, I don't know who you're talking, like, you know, they'll be like, I don't know who you're talking about, or, and they'll like notion down the alley, and you begin to make your way through. So that counts towards 1 success. You are allowed to make 2, but again, everybody obviously can pitch in, support, and do your thing.
I would like to use I'm going to make this interesting. I want to use move and duty. And what I'm thinking is I'm studying how everyone is moving around in this area, and I'm just going to blend in and literally blend into the point where I'm not really, you wouldn't notice me if I was walking by. Like, I'm just trying to blend in so much that I'm just tuning my hearing to hear every little thing that could be said and
Alice
just pick
is
up
watching,
on possibly keywords.
Alice is watching both of y'all like, okay, interesting.
I would feel like Alice more than anyone would be judging me too right now. I'd be like, you better do this correctly.
Oh yeah.
Not telling you what Alice is thinking yet at all.
True, exactly. But I was thinking like, yeah, just try to kind of blend in and just pick up on words here and there that hopefully relate to what we're looking for.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. So that's 12. Oh my god, that was so close. A 10 and a 12.
Ooh, that's 2 successes though. So, Alice, you watch as Zafir just blends. It almost just, it's like a drop of water hitting a creek and just flowing. The only reason that you can see where he's gone is because you know, because you watched him go in, but it is seamless. And you begin to make your way through, and you do eventually catch out of the corner of your eye as you're going some slight shift in that flow, just enough to give you a hint on which direction to continue. Alice or Natalia?
I would like to sort of follow behind Jiro as they go through and talk to people. I would like to use my communicate skill to sort of pick up on like the local like slang, like the way that these people are haggling or talking and trying to pick up on those local nuances. And I'm going to pair that with truth again. So that is 8 and 6 is 14. Simple math. 1 success. I get a 12.
What's the other roll?
17.
Okay, you're good. As long as it's not a 20.
No.
Okay, so that is 1 success. These people are very strange to you. You can tell that this culture is entirely different than your own. But after following Jiro and watching their body language and Jiro mimic theirs and it go back and forth, you begin to pick up on these things. And you can tell with this last group that Jiro spoke to, in their body language, it's not as relaxed as the previous ones. When the aloof questioning pops up, you can see their body language shifts. You're now familiar enough that you do notice this. So you notice whatever hint that they're giving you feels accurate. This feels like the right decision and the right direction to go in. Alice.
Seeing what Zafir and Jiro do, Alice is going to kind of change her posture and kind of just find a place to like quote unquote rest, as if like she's just like tired from the day, and is just going to listen for what's going on around her. She's trying to pick up any sort of like people muttering anything or just anything that she can hear. So that's gonna be discipline and truth. So let's roll them dice and see what we get. I'm gonna call that 2 successes because it's 6 and a 7. So
Yeah. So with that, you take kind of this position off to the side and not quite leaning on the wall, but taking a deep breath. You just go back to your training.
Mhm.
You've done this a million times. And all of the footsteps, you almost isolate each sound one at a time. The footsteps, the drone of the machinery, slowly one by one, silencing them. The breaths of the people walking by, silencing them. Until down a back alley, you hear a male voice. You can't distinguish what's being said, but there's a twinge in your mind, and you feel that's the person, that's the one you're looking for. And you begin to go in that direction. As you do hear that voice getting louder through your silence, go ahead and roll me another check. Your choice of what Alice's response to that would be.
okay. I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go move and duty. That's a 1 and a 2.
That is 3 successes. Yeah, you got this. So
Scared me because it was almost a 15. Anyway.
no, that's awesome. But so you hear this sound, you isolate it out. You find yourself walking past Jiro and Natalia. You see Alice take a turn down an alleyway. Zafir, you see this and you follow suit. Natalia and Jiro, you do see them. Alice, you find yourself going through this alleyway down another street, similarly busy as the previous one, when a cloak catches your eye. He's slippery. One would hope as much with the reputation that this man has, and while he manages to avoid you several times, you start to learn the proper signals to reassure him of your intent. Leaving him bribes has also helped your cause, as you set out a coin or two, being sure that it's seen and stepping away. You finally manage to slip him your passcode. And he agrees to meet with you in private. He leads you away from the main thoroughfare into a small alley where he indicates a small dwelling set into the industrial wall. The place is cramped and smells of oil, but you can trust Kushan, as this should be a safe place for you for now. With that, you may all look into chat as there is your image. Somehow, you find his presence somewhat reassuring, as Jiro seemed to be distrustful of him. Something about him almost to you compared to the Harkonnen seems a little reassuring. But as you enter in, you are all allowed, if you would like to make understand tests, to perceive your surroundings. Please feel free to do so.
Ooh,
Not good.
one success.
One success. Okay.
Mhm.
1 success.
One success. You are allowed to use momentum.
2 success.
2 success. Okay.
Also 1.
Okay. Natalia, you were the only one that notices this. You can see that while he's alone with you, he has a series of weapons and traps hidden around this area. He might be alone, but he is not unprepared for visitors. So, as he takes a seat in front of you in this kind of disheveled area, obviously you will all roll communicate tests when trying to persuade or get any information out of him, with a difficulty of 1, because you have done well here. Granted, that's the difficulty to communicate with him. If at any point you decide to try to intimidate, that will be a difficulty of 3, because you're trying to intimidate somebody who's fairly tough, depending on how your negotiations go. Okay.
Okay.
What is it that you need? The Harkonnens do not send people to me for no reason.
Well, to be blunt, friend Bushan, we are in search of information. An attempt was made on the life of a member of our house, and we are to understand that you would know the whereabouts, we'll say, of the remaining cadre responsible for the attempt.
Who's supposedly responsible?
My notes say the assassin was sent by House Vernius of Ix, long time jealous of our success.
Go ahead and roll your communicate test.
Okay. Communicate, and I think I'm rolling with justice because I'm trying to get justice for Natalia, for the attempt, for House Nagara in general, right? This is an affront to all of us. I'm not here for it.
I probably sport my colors.
So justice is 7, communicate 7, 14, and I got a 7 and a 5.
That is 2 successes. So the smudge grin he usually wears fades for a moment as he gives the question some thought. Eventually he shakes his head. I haven't heard of anything. Vernius would be pretty stupid to have a full cell around here. I'd know if someone wanted to hide, though. Or if someone wanted to hire, for that matter. He thinks about it another moment. I'll keep my ear to the ground. Tell Tyrell they owe me a favor. May take a couple of days to get the information, but I can keep you in the loop. I can have one of my runners go get some word to you. He shows you this small capsule, almost like a metal pill capsule. I usually keep my messages tight in one of these. Tyrell will know. Anything else I can do for you?
I inquire, what's the good street food around here? What doesn't taste like smog?
Roll a communicate test for me.
Ooh, this is probably truth. I'm really looking for the truth of where are the burritos around here. 7, so 5. Is that 12? That's 12. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that is 2 failures. So that's cool. 15 and 18. My dice.
I mean, if you go around the corner, there's a small wooden box with the hole in the top.
Okay.
As Jiro starts to ask this question and our friend responds very smart alecky, I sort of step forward and I say, I don't believe that we really need any more information from you, but considering you don't know anything now, but we appreciate the effort that will be put forth by you.
So we're done here then?
I turn to Zafir and Alice and say,
I have
is there
some
anything
place
else?
to be, so. Nothing? Okay. Well, he turns to leave and then stops and turns back around. Remember, though, watch for my runner. Tyrell will know the one. And with that, you watch as he strides away, deftly swapping out one face mask for another, blending in easily to the streets in front of you. You make your way back to the edge of the low market and signal that you're ready for pickup. So,
Well, that went well.
You guys actually did very well. So you return back. The return home is filled with a lot of quiet, but kind of a sense of pride. You found your way through those obstacles, finally, and earned the trust of your Harkonnen contact. And soon you will know more, if there is indeed any more to know, at least on that end of things. Niren's approval is plain on his face as you arrive. Though true to himself, he does not make the next day's practice sessions any kinder to you for your success at all. Turo, too, wears his pride openly to you. It's likely not a coincidence that each of your favorite foods are reliably kept stocked in the usual meeting chamber. So your training continues as originally planned, and there is an additional sense of pride when you see how far along you've come in all of your activities. Alice, now being here, you start to feel as a party whole. Shizu is part of all of these practices and resources, but continues to take so much time for herself to practice that combat, as you do feel her distant in this time, and you can see that she is still coping with what she sees as a failure. Now, it's a week gone by before you hear news from Kushan. Turo summons you all to the meeting room, where he greets you with a solemn, ashen-faced stare. You feel a pit in your stomach as you take your seats and await the news. Kushan was found dead this morning. The last time anybody saw him alive, he had been making arrangements with one of the couriers that we use to ferry our messages. He pulls out the capsule and opens this capsule. The courier dropped off this note. He unrolls it and puts it in front of you all. Vernia's cell only had one other, retreated off Gady Prime, so no pointers to him. Plans unknown beyond that, no further news. You feel the knot in your stomach build new. House Vernius had planned something, but who knows what it was. Whatever it is, whatever those plans were, they were worth a human life. There's more here than meets the eye, it seems, and you realize that your adventures are only just beginning. Turo has this note in front of you. And you have the room for a brief moment.
Who found the body?
The courier.
And where?
In one of their usual meeting places. They didn't tell me that information. That was part of the arrangement as usual.
That's fair. I can accept that. But,
How were they taken out?
No.
How was Kushan taken out? Was it stab, poison?
It didn't look peaceful. They're investigating those details.
But they didn't know enough to take the message.
And we're sure it was him? I mean, we did watch him blend seamlessly into a new disguise on his exit.
The courier was certain. We've confirmed his death.
I don't love that for us.
There's a 100% chance right now I have a tummy ache thinking about it.
So, with that, you are all left to question this. As Turo stands up and walks away, clearly having kind of a sullen, defeated look on their face. Their gait reflects a similar attitude. As you prepare for the next phases of your training and what this death means for you and your party and for your house. And that is where we are going to be taking a quick 10-minute break. As we return, we will be seeing what exactly this next phase of training looks like for House Nagara. And hopefully your first negotiations will go well. So with that, everybody step away, do what you got to do. Let me double check with our tech, make sure that they're ready to go also. But in the meantime, we can also, while we await that, because things happen, as the characters go back to their quarters, before we go into that next phase, actually, what do you say in private? Because you do know all of those things.
Yeah, I turn to Jiro and I say, I don't feel good about this.
Neither do I. Are we certain the Harkonnen are not ultimately behind this? It's not something I would put past them.
We are not certain.
There's always a possibility, yes. I don't believe, other than the fact that they have graciously opened their doors and their food and their training.
Their food, though.
Well, yes. I do miss the supple meat and cheeses of our homeland that are not polluted in such a way, but I think it is best if we show nothing but gratitude towards them currently until we have a solid concrete proof otherwise. I think it would be unwise to upset our hosts.
Indeed.
And until we are on Arrakis ourselves.
The Harkonnens truly are our enemy, which, again, as you said, they have been very gracious hosts, but if they happen to be, don't show any weakness. That's an invitation to so many different doors.
To your point, Zafir, with our new position, we find ourselves at a distinct lack of allies and a surplus of people who would wish to see this house fall in favor of their own. So,
unfortunately, is the burden when someone takes on the responsibility of Dune.
And it is with that we will then take our break as we leave you realizing the magnitude of the situation that you're in, especially concerning your location. So with that, we will be back after a quick break in about 10 minutes. We'll see you then. We did the thing, so we're back. So welcome back to the Initiative Order and our second episode of Agents of Dune. So, after coming out of the infirmary and Alice arriving finally to be with your house, you went through your next phase, which ultimately was no longer practice. You were sent on a recon mission to make contact with Kushan, a seemingly seedy kind of character, but seemed almost more trustworthy than a lot of the people you've been dealing with. However, they confirmed that they hadn't heard anything of this other house having a presence on Gady Prime, but they would definitely look into it for you. You guys actually did very well blending in and navigating the surroundings, building a bit of a boost of confidence in all of you. Maybe it was a missing piece. Who knows? But after waiting a week, no word, and then finally, Turo sits you all down, and Kushan was found dead by his courier with a message that said, not much. You find it all distrustful. You're not real excited about it, but you're beginning to realize the gravity of your situation. So, the thick, polluted air of Gady Prime, the Harkonnens' home planet, churns around you, sticking in your throat, making you cough. Ornithopters land and take off across the landing field with a droning hum. The unsettling knowledge that there's more going on than you ever realized makes it difficult to concentrate. Does your mother, the Countess Nagara, know? Does she know what's been taking place? The roar of a frigate's engine draws your attention. A man with an unnaturally straight posture and a sour expression on his face approaches you from the ship. With the pomp of self-important, he hands you a sealed envelope. The Countess Nagara has a message from her heir on Gady Prime. Opening the letter, you read. My dear child, Chom has reached out to trade with our house. So, Jiro, naturally, you're the reading this, and I will explain what that is. They are looking to purchase some of our famed Nagaran goods and technology. You will find a shipment on this frigate. This is an opportunity for you to try your hand at large-scale negotiations and learn a bit about our signature wares. Receive the product shipment, secure it, and negotiate with Sabria Zafir, the Chom delegate. Now, this trade agreement is critical to funding our management of Arrakis upon our official arrival. Yes. Make sure you inspect the shipment thoroughly, work hard, be vigilant. Negotiations are not as easy as they seem, and never forget that you are the heir to the noble house Nagara. With that, the courier turns on his heel and returns to the frigate, while huge containers marked with the crest of House Nagara roll off the ship. The Countess's message gives each player 3 determination, to a maximum of 3 if they already had some. So everybody has 3 determination. This represents her extra support that will make many of their remaining tasks a little bit easier. Now, for anybody that does not remember what a determination can do for you, so what you can do with that is that can be an automatic 1 on a single die. I think the only caveat to that, obviously, if you do that, you don't get like the bonus success that will build your momentum. That's the only downside to that. You will get your successes, but it won't give you momentum build. You may re-roll any or all of your dice that you have rolled after the fact. You can make a declaration, which is create a new trait or change or remove an existing one. So, for example, you guys had the -1 to difficulties. You could have, if it was a negative trait saying you had a +1 to all difficulties, you could say, actually, because we did this, things are better now. And we could negotiate that as well. And then obviously, during a conflict, you can use a determination to take an extra action. So, obviously, the most pertinent and usually handy of those is going to be re-rolling or giving yourself some criticals based upon your past rolling history, apart from Alice. So at this point, it is up to you as the players what you do with this shipment. Jiro, you receive this summons, and eventually Natalia, Alice, and Zafir, you arrive at Jiro's side. Shizu has handed you this and gone back to training. As you can tell, it's still not coping well. But you have some options of what you would like to do with the shipment. Obviously, it needs to be inspected and secured. You can also ask the Harkonnens for advice, or you can attempt to secure it in one of your own facilities. So you have a moment to discuss amongst yourselves what you would like to do with this shipment to secure its location first.
Well, friends, it seems we find ourselves with a shipment in need of security.
Yes. Where did it say that it needed to go?
Somewhere safe.
Well, the Countess was not specific, but she has entrusted the safety of both this shipment and the future of our ventures on Arrakis to us. So I would feel more secure securing this shipment in one of our own facilities and not leaving it to our gracious hosts to arrange for us.
I would also echo that.
I concur as well.
Yes, I believe that perhaps is the best way to go with this.
So, as you choose to try to locate your own safe house for your goods, you will need to be reaching out to individual merchants in the barony and talk to them about renting a location. To do so, you must spend some of your wealth in the form of 2 determination total, not each. If you do, you can find a warehouse with an attached laboratory and everything to check your materials. So that will cost 2 total party of determination. So if you choose that, you will be handing me 2 determination. So who wants to hand over one of their determination? So Alice and Jiro, you both spend one of your determination points to secure the storage facility. You make your way around the barony, and ultimately it is your persistence, Jiro's charisma, and kind of this daunting figure of a Bene Gesserit at your side that eventually some of these Harkonnen merchants, they just find it appealing, the sense of power and the confidence that you're all walking with after having successfully navigated the lower market before. So the dull roar of the Ornithopter's engine fades away as the vehicle powers down. You find yourself on the very edge of the barony, the only place where your people could find a suitable location for your goods. The reek of factory fumes and crowded populace is slightly less here. Oh. There are 2 large buildings. Their windows are dark and uninviting for you. So as you arrive, obviously you are allowed to inspect the facility. If you do, because you are securing, I will allow, if you are trying to check security and make sure that it's secure as a foreign area, that's going to be an understand test.
100% doing that.
Difficulty 2.
Difficulty 2. Okay. I'm going to do that with just straight up duty, because duty to my house. Want to make sure this goes off without a hitch. So that'll be a 10 overall. So
okay.
Now the nerves kick in.
I'm helping.
Roll your d20. I'll allow. Roll your d20. Wait, before you do that, Nate, did you roll any successes?
No, but I feel like this needs to be said. I once again rolled a 20.
Jeez.
Would you like to use one of your determination to
100%, please.
Smart.
I like that determination's just going. We're just getting rid of it.
So I'm rolling that along with the one Natalia gave me. Just to make sure.
Well, Natalia will roll that roll.
Oh, really quick? Okay, just make
Yeah,
sure.
I got a 9.
That's a success, as long as Zafir rolls any
Yep,
success.
I got no successes because it was 10 and I got 11 and a 13.
So, is anybody else checking? I will allow one other person to check.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I will do understand and power. 7, 9, 2 10s.
2 10s.
So 2 10s on a roll that I think was a 12. So
Yep, that is 2 successes. So Zafir, you're looking around, but it's honestly all of it looks bad to you. It's not that you think anything looks fine, you just think everything looks bad, and you don't feel safe with anything in this area anymore. You are distrusting of all of it, even though Natalia is at your side and trying to help. You're just not none of it looks nice compared to your warehouses at home. Alice, however, as you go up to these 2 buildings and you begin to calmly and slowly inspect, again tuning out all of the sounds around you, you find that this area is completely unconnected to the rest of the barony, but it also has no security. So while all of the rest of the Harkonnens and everybody else will be unaware of what you're doing, it also doesn't have any built-in security of its own, and you will have to provide that. So if you would all like to set up your own security, you must make a move test with a difficulty 2 as a party. Of course, this is after Alice conveys this to you all.
which she does now.
Are you going to
a move test?
Yes. So Alice conveys this. Are you going to attempt to secure it?
Seems like the right call.
Yeah.
Seems like the best idea.
Natalia looks at Zafir's muscles and looks at her own muscles and just sort of says, who do you think is the higher possibility here? You don't need to be a mentat to be able to see that.
I just look at Natalia and say, 90% certain I agree with you.
All right, then that is a move test. And whoever would like to make this to secure it with your own spy eyes and listening devices. Who is making the check? Who is attempting?
Probably not me after that.
I
will do it.
I would say
will do it.
Alice and Natalia, yeah.
I'll do move and truth, and that'll be 12. Aiming for 12 or under. It's 2 and a 5.
That's good. That is 2 successes, which is just enough. So Natalia, you now watch Alice again, just so gracefully and calmly, like, I got this shit. Don't worry. Just place all of these devices, and you officially have the trait of a secured warehouse. Good job. Good job, kids.
Nice.
So, after a couple of hours, a mixture of Nagaran and Harkonnen laborers have unloaded the cargo into your warehouse. Massive containers crowd the inside of the vast space. Accompanying these containers is Dr. Erica Gagno, the lead Nagaran scientist. She mutters about her inventory and admonishes the workers to take more care of the containers as she heads towards the laboratory. Corbus Zahn, the Harkonnen mentat who had accompanied you prior, looks sternly at the vast containers and for a moment regards Dr. Gagno with suspicion. As we know you have an enemy in the house, Vernius, it would be remiss of me to not mention that logic dictates you check your inventory for sabotage, as he walks past you all. And with that, I will post into our chat as well the card for Dr. Gagno. So this woman, beautiful, rich skin, grayed peppered hair, curled but kept tight and neat, signature colors, but a very distinct white medical coat adorned with gold, however. basically to signify her position, not only in House Nagara, but as the lead scientist. As she kind of side eyes, like looks back at Zahn walking into the laboratory. So at this point, you are then left with your goods. Do you then choose to inspect your goods?
I think so.
Who will be... Actually, we're going to make this Jiro.
Oh,
you have to
weird.
be one of the... We're going to make you one of the ones that has to roll this check.
Mhm.
So we can have a couple of people doing this, but you will be one. I want to force you to make some bad rolls this time.
Oh, yeah.
So this is an understand test. Again, trying to perceive and understand the situation, whether or not there's any damage to the technological goods. As remember, you guys have the lens that you've crafted that allows people to see in pitch dark.
Slap
so this an understand difficulty 2 to try to determine if they're damaged, or a discipline test with a difficulty 2 that allows you to direct some of your employees to do so.
Oh, yeah, that seems more what Jiro would do. It's that second one. He's all about delegating, but it is his duty to do this as, the heir on site. Thanks, sis, for really just kind of leaving this on me as you run a 5K or whatever.
Are you going to?
I'm gonna be using discipline to like
Okay,
guide.
are you going to use any of your momentum?
And I assist.
You can assist.
I will assist.
I'm gonna if the team is cool with it, I'm gonna use a momentum. We have what, 3?
Yep. Now you have 2, so you will roll 3d20, and Zafir will roll the 1.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to move a cat so I can actually see my screen. Oh no.
Yep.
So yeah, duty 8, discipline 6, so 14, and I roll a 9, a 14, and a 20.
And I rolled a 16.
So that's 1 success.
2, because the 14
2 successes.
hit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is 2 successes.
Zafir, you need to tell your dice you're not playing Dungeons and Dragons for once.
Oh yeah, they're in jail right now. They belong where they belong.
Rather than using that complication now, I'm going to use that to put a threat in my pocket.
Great.
I don't like that pocket.
Got a few. So as you begin to, you tell some of your, some of the Nagaran employees, they begin to go through this and look for you. Say for Zafir, you are like kind of following them doing this, and so then Alice and Natalia, you were the brainy people stepping back and watching this unfold as you see Zafir following them and kind of like nodding over their shoulders and acting like he fully understands what they're pointing out, as they do find that some of the stock is indeed damaged, and they're pointing out things and showing Zafir, and he's like, yep, I see that, complete over the head. And again, Natalia and Alice, you know him well enough to know that that is what's happening from afar. Thankfully, the damage is not bad, and it can be repaired by Dr. Gagno while you negotiate. Now, with the cargo safely stowed, it is time to negotiate a price with the Chom. With the representative. Koba Zahn escorts you to the Grand Harkonnen Dining Hall. It is a dim room lit by chandeliers of glow globes floating near the top of the vaulted ceilings. The seats and table are made of cold, expensive black plaids, so just everything is drab metal stone. This is a nicer area. The entire place exudes a feeling of industrial efficiency, with no tapestries to muffle any noise. Voices echo off the glossy walls like melancholy ghosts. Though the food looks and smells appealing, it has the appearance of something manufactured, as opposed to crafted by an artisan, like much of the food you've actually had lately. Zahn glances around the dining hall. It appears that the delegate is not here yet. Do you have any questions before you begin your negotiations? So, CHOM, for those of you, is the Combine Hunnet Ober Advancer Mercantiles. They control all commerce in the Empire, including Nagaran commodities, Harkonnen arms, and melange from Arrakis.
Yeah, those are a lot of words that I definitely understand.
They are they are the economy. They manage all economic trade basically in this universe.
Got it.
So you know that. Questions? Looks at you all kind of sternly, almost annoyed.
What can
Are
you
we
tell
bothering
us of this representative?
Do what?
What can you tell us of this representative? Their demeanor, their
Sabria?
etc.
Well, she was I can tell you that she was recently promoted to her position. She is very strict, and especially when it comes to the quality of the goods that she's negotiating for.
Pretty
Well,
cool.
then I suspect that it is a good thing that House Nagara is known for quite high quality.
Except for those few damaged goods, correct?
Statistically speaking, a space travel is always going to have some sort of the bump in the road, if you will.
I will.
So, just to be clear, Sabriel wants as much of your shipment as she can get for the lowest possible price. Obviously, you need to convince her that it's worth buying for a higher price. But be careful not to push the price so high that she walks away. Ideally, you want to convince her, despite the cost that you are asking her to pay, that she's getting a valuable cargo that she can be sold for much more. So, I know you're all a bit naive in the ways, so.
Thank you.
Nods. And you can tell almost like that was like in Zon's way was like offering like help. Mentat and all.
Well, we appreciate. Will you be sticking around?
I'll be available.
I see.
I want to see how this goes as well. I'll be reporting back to Turo.
I see.
Let's see if you can get as good of a deal as we can. Though that might be asking a bit of Nagara. As you can tell, there's like this pride for Harkonnen.
Yeah, I get that. I get that a lot. Yeah, I turn to my comrades and say, do we have a strategy here? Should we try to run the numbers, or shall we wing it?
Well, I would say we would want to run some numbers. Yes, of course. Be ready with our offers, right?
So, as you say this, with a quiet hiss, the dining hall door opens. A woman strides in and greets you. She holds out her hand. I am Sabria Zafir. I look forward to negotiating an amazing deal with you all. You can tell as she walks in, exudes absolute dominance and confidence. Picture posted in chat. Again, adorned, beautiful jewelry, just reeks of affluence know how, and get it done.
Mhm.
And no BS. Now, she has bright, intelligent eyes and a passion for bartering. You can see this on her already. She wants a good deal and will undoubtedly push to get her way.
Mhm.
With the backing of who she has backing of, she has a lot of leverage, and she's not afraid to use that against you. Negotiating with her will be a conflict. So if you can win this conflict, you have got the best price you can for your goods from her. But if you lose, she will have convinced you to allow her to pay less than market value. While you have the goods, she is better aware of the price they might command in the Imperium as a whole. She can also leverage House Nagara's need for influence to push down your price as a favor to her. Conflict involves bringing assets into play and using them to grant the leverage required for victory, be it intrigue, negotiation, or a knife fight. The difficulty of tests involved will not depend on a set number, but will be the result of an opponent's dice roll, in this case, hers, as these are contested rolls. So you will be rolling against me. Now, so the map that I showed you all earlier, the negotiation map, that is what we will be using to navigate this. I will show you our map. So for those listening and watching, this negotiation map at its core has the assets that are being dealt, moved, and used for the negotiation. Then there are 3 spots at the top, which represent Sabria's basically these 3 successes. If you can get here and defeat these 3 positions, then she will negotiate with you. At the bottom are places for all of the player characters. Now, as you will be trying to move your assets, which are your goods, to her spaces, you have 2 actions that you can make. So you have an action to move one of your assets. So that is an action to move them. You may move them subtly or boldly. If you're moving them boldly, then that is going to increase the difficulty, and you're trying to basically saying this is how much we want, versus if you're like doing it subtly, you're being like, well, these ones are really good, and I mean, you could probably ask, you're being sneaky about something. So once you get those goods moved to one of those spaces, then your action will be to maneuver her into it. So then, depending on which space it is, whether that is understand, discipline, or communicate, you will try to outdo her in one of those skill tests. If you do so, you achieve a victory in that spot, and that spot is off the table. However, if she moves one of her assets into, say, Zafir's square, and she defeats Zafir in a contested roll, then Zafir is out of the negotiations and has been backed into a corner.
Yikes.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool system.
Cool.
So, each player, yes. So, all of those are linked. Yes. Okay. So you have 3 assets in play called Nagaran wares, with each representing a third of your wares. So she has 3 assets called the Chom leverage, which she can take and place them in the central zone or elsewhere. You must try and move each of your ware assets into one of hers, defeat her in the challenge, and she will be doing the same. I will be trying to drive each of you out of the negotiation. If she can move one of her influence to your zone and defeat you in that challenge, you are driven from the negotiation. If all of you are driven from the negotiation, you fail. She basically just gets your stuff at a steal. Now, before you sit down to begin all of this, however, a messenger arrives with a worried-looking Dr. Gagno and whispers something in Sabria's ear. She smiles slyly at the news that she's being given. As per our agreement, my technical staff have inspected the merchandise, and they have found that some of the items are not the quality that we were expecting. I hope you're prepared to compensate for this deficit in your negotiations. So, with that, however, while you were hoping that the damage would not be detected, you have prepared for this moment. With Dr. Gagno's help, you explained that there was some minor transit damage to the few items, but they are in full working order, and even her technicians are forced to admit that the repairs are perfectly fine. However, it seems a minor skirmish must occur before the real negotiations begin. So I need you to make a communication test with a difficulty of 3, but you may all assist.
Okay.
So who is our communicator?
I feel like it's probably.
I vote Jiro or Alice.
I also vote Jiro or Alice.
That's
I'm
my
not
I
sure.
think Alice probably, just because I would assume a Bene Gesserit would have an amazing
I'm
amount
on
of
it.
communication skills.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
I just love that Alice is here and saves the day constantly now. Like, Alice is just, your luck is completely
been the
shifted.
theme of the session.
I mean, I'm the bumbling uncle at this point.
True,
Okay.
though.
Okay, who is assisting?
You said we could all assist?
I would say you are all welcome to assist. Go for it. Everybody roll. You will all roll 1, and Alice will roll 2.
Okay, I'll do communicate and. Whew, okay, I got a 5 and a 10, and the goal was 10. Oh, Boise.
That's 2.
I was so scared.
Did anybody else roll a success? If you fail, which that then becomes, or
Wait, let me look at talent. I got a lot of help in talent.
So much of my dice is being thrown out today.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have used a determination to roll a natural 1.
Hindsight's 2020. So my advisor talent, I have a knack for guiding others through problems. So I guess technically, so it says like when you choose this talent, select a single skill. I don't think that I've ever chosen like what that skill is, because then it says whatever you assist an ally and you use that skill, the ally you assist may re-roll a single d20 in their dice pool.
Yeah.
Knowing Natalia, I probably, it says understand. I'm a dingus who can read. So never mind. This is a communicate skill. I can spend 2 points of momentum, but that's all our momentum.
Well, and it's also after the fact.
Yeah, that's true.
You won't allow it.
Yeah.
So, as Alice beautifully tries to convince her that these repairs are handled, we found them, we handled this. Something about the words that come out of literally everybody else's mouth as you all attempted to help jumble what Alice says, and she can sense that you're disorganized. She insists that some of the merchandise is simply substandard and will not be worth the full price. One of your wear cards is now noted as being a +1 difficulty to get her to. Yes. So, okay. So on that note, though, it's a difficulty 2 on average. You guys do have 2 momentum, and do remember you have your determination. Those determination, if you burn through, that's a thing, but you do have them. Do not forget that. So, the way that this works are the order of action, and I'm going to read through this because I am also learning this system. For those watching, that's what this little book doohickey does. Is it teaches you how to play if you've never touched the dang thing before, and it's good. So, order of action: each player may take 1 action each turn. Sabria, due to her experience, may take 2. The player side goes first with one player taking an action, then play moves to Sabria's side for her to take her first action. Play then returns to the player's side for a different player to take an action. This continues to alternate until one side runs out of actions, whereupon any remaining characters on the opposing side can each take the remaining actions. So basically it would go bap, 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 and then whoever's left will just keep going after her. Which player acts on the player's turn is up to the group entirely, but no one can act twice. So it's essentially initiative in that regard, as you each have your initiative for the round. Either side can keep the initiative.
Are you calling it an initiative order?
You might call it the initiative order. In fact, you can keep the initiative, and if you spend 2 momentum or give me threat, in this case, the play will remain on your side rather than going back to her immediately. So you can kind of skip her, like she'll go later. So say it goes Jiro, Sabria, Alice, then back to Sabria, then Natalia. You could go, actually it's Jiro, Alice, then her, and you could you can get sneaky with some of that. So now on your turn, you may do one of 2 things. You may move an asset, so you may take one of your Nagaran wares and place them, or you can use an asset. So if you move an asset, you can move it subtly or boldly. Like I had said before, if you move it boldly, you're trying to provoke your opponent into a hasty action. So you're kind of trying to get them like on the edge of like, well, if you don't take this, I'm going to sell it to somebody else. You're being edgy in that way, and which case you'll make a difficulty 2 test. To see if you succeed, you may have to move one of your assets to a connected zone. That will be the contested, to get that. So in order for you to take it from just the negotiation to her, that'll be like a difficulty 2 test. And depending on how you are negotiating that situation, if you are trying to be intimidating, that's going to be discipline. That's if you're trying to be very calm and stoic about, well, I guess if you don't want this, then somebody else will want it, and you're trying to be bold about it, then that's how you're going to do that. If you move something subtly, you are making a clever plot to grant you an opportunity in the future. Make a difficulty test, same thing, of 2, and if you succeed, you may move one of your assets to a zone connected to its current one. If you choose to keep the initiative, the cost of doing so is then reduced to 0. So if you're doing subtly and you're being sneaky about it, you're literally setting it up for somebody to just take the next step for you. And of course, the test to move an asset depends on the conflict. In this situation negotiation, all such tests are using communicate specifically. If you want to use an asset, you are attempting to make a direct attack on your opponent, or in this situation, you are forcing her hand to make the offer. An asset can only be useful or usefully used in this negotiation if it is in one of her zones. So you can't use an asset anywhere on this map. It has to be in her zone. So you have to move it there. So you will need to first get it on the negotiation table, and then so you will place it there and then move it to one of her squares. If the subject of the zone wins that challenge, then it's repelled and the asset remains where it is and nothing else happens. If the owner of the asset wins the challenge, they have defeated the subject of that zone. So that's where that goes back and forth, and that's what I was referring to earlier. So, with that, I guess let's go ahead. Yes, that's the other thing. So with assistance, player characters cannot assist each other when attempting to move an asset. So there is no assisting in this situation. But up to 3 player characters who are in play can assist anyone using an asset against Sabria. So you cannot help move, but you can help use an asset. So like if you are negotiating that final price, and Alice is backing you up because Jiro, you're trying to explain, no, the damage is not that bad, and Alice is backing you up, they can assist in that, just not moving it to that spot. The negotiation wins when all of the Nagaran wares or all of the player characters are removed from the board. So let's dive in and see how this goes. Since we got the technical doohickeys, I would like all of you then to decide for me what order you would like to go in. Who will be going first? Everybody roll a d20.
Yeah.
Roll
I was
for
gonna say, the way I've been rolling lately, do you want me to go first?
roll for initiative. And I'm gonna eat a French fry.
9.
3.
8.
Okay, so in that regard, we're going to go Alice, then Sabria, then Natalia, then Sabria, and then we will go to Zafir, and then we will go to Jiro. Okay, so that is our initiative order. Okay. So first things first, you have your 3 wares, Alice. Would you like to move one of those wares onto the negotiation table? That's kind of, I'm guessing that's the start of it.
Yeah.
It says you have to move them onto the table first.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess.
I think that is
what it sounds like. Yeah.
I think that is what I'm gonna do. And feel free to obviously correct me if I did not understand how this works correct. But I guess I'm aiming towards that discipline slot.
Well, you have to decide first if you're moving subtly or boldly.
Okay, I think subtly.
Okay, and then it says and that was where that says the test to move an asset depends on the conflict. As this is a negotiation, all tests are made using communicate. So for this one, we have to use communicate.
Okay.
So it will be communicate and then whatever drive you choose.
I think I will go with a power.
Okay. That is a difficulty of 2. That is the other. Yeah.
Okay. Crossing my fingies here. That's a 2 and a 1.
That is 3 successes. That gives y'all another.
Teasing me. It keeps teasing me with the nat 20, and then it rolled over to the 1, and I was like, whoo!
But that did build you guys up another momentum, so you do now have a 3 momentum, and you do successfully. And did you chose subtly?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, with that you begin to negotiate and place one of your wares on the negotiation table and begin to discuss this with her. As you begin to weave your words back and forth, you kind of pave the way almost, and there's just this perfect slotted moment. For Natalia, if you would like, you may keep the initiative as Alice leaves just this perfect spot for you to dive into the negotiation.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Natalia would definitely pick up on like, oh yes, and
so you do have the one ware at the center. Do you want to move that ware up to one of her one of her squares, one of her spaces to begin?
Yeah, I think I would like to move our wares.
Okay. Would you like to move that to understand, discipline, or communicate?
So remind me, does that like knock that skill out? Is that what?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you move this ware up to the discipline, then after that discipline one is done, it's out. But that'll be the discipline test to beat her in that regard.
Got it. I'm moving it towards understanding.
Okay. And in that regard, are you moving subtly or boldly?
I think because Alice's subtle worked so well, I think Natalia would pick up on we should keep that and keep it very subtle.
Okay. Awesome.
And so this is communicate?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to go with duty. So
and you do have 3 momentum, and this is a difficulty 2, just so you know.
Got it. I feel lucky?
Do you, punk? Sorry.
I feel lucky.
Don't forget determination.
Yeah, don't forget you have determination, and that is a natural 1. That is a guaranteed success.
And I still have 3 of those, so I think I'll use one of my determination.
Okay, then go ahead and roll your second die. Natural 20, here we go.
6.
Damn it.
Don't you put that bad juju on me.
Only one of us can have that bad juju. It's me right
Yeah,
now.
and it's you.
Okay. So with that, you flow right into that negotiation, and you're fully understanding and you begin to move into that realm of understand because you are watching her mannerisms, you are learning those reactions to certain phrases, words, and you do move your asset further into the negotiation. So next, are you choosing to keep the initiative? And skip
Is that my
punish?
decision? Oh. Yes.
Okay, in which case, Zafir. It is you. So Natalia goes, and specifically this bit of technology, it falls in line with your know-how and your understanding, and you feel this bit of boost in you to step into this conversation with confidence. What you may either move one of your other wares, so you do have 2 wares, one of which of course is the no wares. So you may move one of your wares to the negotiation table, or you may try to beat Sabria in an understand contest.
I would rather move one of our assets to the table.
Do you want the no wares or the regular one?
The regular one. I don't trust my dice anymore.
That is a difficulty of 2. You have 3 momentum, and that is communicate.
I am, because again, I don't trust my dice right now. I'm spending a determination.
These are my no wares. Sorry.
No. I'm going to spend a determination so I get an auto 1, just because dice are funny like that.
Hey. Are you moving boldly or subtly? I would say that you probably, actually, I think at this point there is no going back. Well, no, I guess technically you could. Boldly or subtly?
No, I feel like my confidence, as you said, with Zafir feeling confident about this stuff, I feel like as much as bold did ring in my head, I feel subtle seeing how the others have been doing it. I'm just following in line with that and just doing what I can to not disrupt things.
Okay.
All right. Let's see what happens. Well, at least I got that auto because I got an 18, so it's a no.
But it wasn't a bad no though, because then I would.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad no, thankfully.
So you.
My dice today are just awful. Yeah.
Brought to you by Umbrella. Sorry. So I.
Thankfully, no, it actually was not.
Taryn is controlling your dice.
Yeah, actually, that was not your dice. Your dice has actually been rolling really well today.
Bad baby. No. So,
I'm suspicious.
So the other option when you move boldly, by the way, is once Sabria has placed her assets, if you move boldly, you may also move one of her assets away from one of yours. So right now, boldly wouldn't have really done much for y'all. Anyways, but with that, Zafir, you roll in and seamlessly with your combat knowledge and everything, somehow similar to your graceful movements with the sword, you come in and very confidently back what Natalia and Alice have said. And eventually it paves the way for Jiro. You have a shoe into the conversation. As Zafir has brought more of the wares onto the table. You may either contest Sabria with understand, or you may move these wares to another of either discipline or communicate.
I'm going to try to move our way to the communicate area. Just subtly slide that over there.
Okay. That is communicate, and then whatever drive.
I think Jiro's still rolling with duty.
Okay.
He's got to get this done for the house, for his sister, for the countess. You know. So it's 15, and I too will use a determination just to make sure that this gets there. And so that's my other roll is an 11. So that is
11.
both good.
Okay, 2 success. Where would you like to move this?
Communicate.
To communicate specifically. Okay, you have now moved your wares. So you are putting the good wares before her and beginning to negotiate those prices. Sabria comes back.
Thank you.
And she will attempt to. That does not go well, so those go nowhere. That's all that matters. I'm switching dice now. That one counts, though. As you begin to have this conversation, she begins to mention the names of the people that she knows, Natalia and Alice. Very specifically, Natalia, because of the research that you've done to be prepared, and Alice, because of the worldly knowledge that you have, you begin to pick up on these names and you understand that she means business and that she can easily make or break your entire house forever in the economics of the Imperium. But with that, now it is back at the top. Damn it. Alice.
Okay, so if I am to understand, because I'm a visual person
Yes.
here, we've got one. We've got like wares in on her side of things already, and then one on the table.
Yeah, well, you have wares and understand.
Okay.
You have wares and communicate.
Oh, okay.
And she has one of her influence at the center.
Okay. So I can try and push that back towards her.
In theory, yeah, you could back that away from you if you do move boldly and succeed. But you would of course have to then, if you're moving something boldly, you would have to move your no wares onto the field. With a difficulty 3.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Well, I don't want to do that. So subtly, what are my options? If I
well, you can either move the asset subtly on, which it would still be a difficulty 3, but you could then place it on and pave the way for somebody to kind of skip her again. Or you could try to beat her in either communicate or an understand check. So you can move the no wares onto the table, or try to go ahead and knock out one of these contests.
I think I want to try and knock out one of these contests because I'm a little wary of the wares.
We're good at stuff. Sorry,
we're good at puns and stuff. I'm aiming for discipline.
Okay.
Personally.
Oh well, it has to be either understand or
You're
it
right.
has to be one of the two that you have wares on. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Where's my?
Don't forget determination.
Yeesh.
And momentum. You'll have 3 momentum. You can buy 1 extra dice with 1 momentum. Just so you know.
Y'all okay if I buy a dice?
Already.
Buy that die.
Okay, I do it, and I will go with understand, unless anyone had designs on that. You had designs on that?
I understand well.
Okay, yeah. Let me. Then never mind. What was my other option?
Communicate.
Communicate. Yeah. Let's go with communicate, and I'll buy an extra dice. And I'll go with faith because that'll be my best option. I think faith that House Nagara is always good at the stuff that they make and bring to the table.
And we are doing communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's so that check ends up being a 12. And I have a 9, a 7, and a 7.
I also have 3 successes, so we will need to roll 2d20 again.
Okay.
Donnez-moi.
Yeah, we both had 3 successes, so roll 2 more d20,
Okay.
and whoever has the most successes, same target number as before.
6 and a 4. I didn't need Alice's hyper awareness to see that face you made.
Oh, that was so good.
This is why you should buy Umbraloculus dice, because this one just gave me a natural 20 and gave y'all momentum.
Oh.
So, and
Okay.
you successfully sold one of your wares at top dollar.
Okay.
So that is 1 down,
My wares for you.
and now it's her turn. She is going to try to move her influence that she already has placed.
No, don't do it.
No, stop.
Stop that. Cease and
Just stop it. Stop it.
That is
Stop.
2 successes to boldly move her influence over towards Alice. And with that, this last wares that you had on the table, she moves back to the negotiation table off of understand.
Listen, lady.
So after you talk her into that one cell, she immediately picks up on, game recognizes game. And she begins to go, oh, so you, the Bene Gesserit. And she begins to bring up some of your mothers, some of the other women that you know, and some of them you fear. And while doing so, begins to call into question some of the other wares that have been talked up. And so now we go back to Natalia.
I would. So if I choose to go boldly,
You may move her influence as well as move one of yours. And you can also move the no-nowheres.
got it. Okay, I would like to be bold. Because once that deal is sealed, I think Natalia has a little bit of a boost of confidence. She feels the probability of this going well gets higher, and she sees the interaction between them, Alice and her, and is feeling pretty bold here. So that's just communicate again.
Yep.
I'm going to do
3 momentum, by the way.
Yes. I think I will use one of the momentum
Yes.
that we just earned. And I'm going to do communicate in faith. So it's me 13. I got a 5, a 4, and a 14. 2 successes.
2 successes. As which are you going towards discipline or understand?
Understand again.
Okay, back to understand. So you do begin to talk up those goods again and utilizing again your understanding of her mannerisms. You begin to pick up on those. And do you move her influence?
I sure do.
Yeah. Nice. So you move that back off of Alice as you kind of begin to wedge back into this conversation. You're like, oh yeah, I've read about those people and this is how I understand the Bene Gesserit. And actually they don't have any leverage over Alice right now. You kind of come back in with like this actually super intelligent and kind of push her back in the negotiation.
Statistically speaking, yes, all of these people exist. However, they're not here in this room. So I'm going to need you to take that information and stuff it.
Oh, snap.
That's funny.
I'm going to do a thing and place another influence at
She's
center.
using a lair action.
She is not using a lair action, though it was bold and your wares are back off of understand.
She snapped back at me.
She did. She was just like, don't come at me like that. And then just was like, I know mentats too. And then
Yep. And I was like, oh damn, she knows the mentats.
Oh no, my face.
now it's Zafir.
I feel like I need a
this
fan
is
to be
a
like, oh
hard-
my. Also,
Scandal. It's just a cat fight. It's just you have your wares at center.
mhm.
There are 2 influences at center. So boldly you could move one of those back further off of you all. Or you can either place the no wares onto the table, or you may move the wares that are currently on the table to a slot to set up your friends. So, which is discipline and understand.
I feel like I would use boldness to try to remove influence from the table.
Okay.
And that would be communicate again, just to make sure.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay. Communicate in truth. So like 12. I want to buy, actually, before I roll this, I want to buy die.
You do have 2 momentum.
2 momentum. And I have
Buy
1
it.
determination, which I'm holding on. Yeah, I'm going to buy
Yeah,
momentum.
buy
'Cause
it
I don't
then.
want to use my 1 determination yet. I'm going to hold on to that for a minute. Okay. Action. Okay, switch to the right dice. A 3, a 7, and an 11.
3, a
Let's
7.
go.
And my target was a 12. Yeah, my target was a 12.
Nailed it.
That is 3 successes.
These dice can go out of dice jail. They're good now.
Let's go.
Got another momentum. Where are you moving your wares to? Discipline or understand?
I'm going to move it to understand.
Okay. And you are pushing one of the influences back towards.
Yep.
Okay. So, with that, then we are to Jiro. So, Jiro, there is a card on understand. One of your wares are there. Or you can place the no wares for 3.
I'm gonna have to try to place those wares.
You're going to place the no wares.
Yeah.
Where that's the difficulty 3 communicate.
Right.
You have 2 momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And I
so
think you still have 2 determination too.
I have 1
Mm.
because I spent 1 to buy a warehouse.
Right.
It cost me a lot of determination. Would I be able to buy an additional D20 by generating threat? I have a move that says I can do something with that.
Yes.
So that's kind of,
Okay.
or a talent. I have
How
a
many
talent.
how many threat do I get?
It says, well, here I can just, I have what's called bold. This is when you take calculator risks, you tend to succeed more often than seems reasonable. When you attempt a test using communicate, and you buy additional D20s by generating threat for the game master, you may re-roll a single D20 in that dice pool. So it doesn't say how many, but I would assume it's.
Here it is. Yeah, if you. Yeah. Okay. So, buying D20s, it's the same. It's the same cost. It's the same cost as momentum. So 1 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
3 if you want 2 extra dice, etc. It goes up. So 1 dice is 1, 2 dice is 2. So if you want to spend 3 threat.
1.
Okay.
I think 1 sounds good. I'm not trying to thread it up too much.
Okay. So you roll 3.
Yeah. And I'm glad I did that because it's an 11, a 7, and a 16, which I choose to reroll using this bold thing, which is a 6. So that's 3 successes.
Woo! Okay, so the no wares are now on the table. Okay.
You will buy the no wares.
We're gonna turn those no wares into go wares.
We are.
So you do manage with even the damage goods, Jiro. You kind of swing in and you kind of make like this bold accusation of like, not only will they be fixed, but they will be better because they will have all of the anything else they would have. They'll be more tuned up, and somehow she seems to take the bait, and it's moving onto the table. Were you moving? Well, in that situation, you were moving boldly. Would you like to move her influence back?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I will just say that
Take it on back.
Going to back that away. Okay, and then now it is Alice's turn. So Alice, first and foremost, there is a card on Understand.
Okay.
One of your wares. And then you do now have the no wares at center. So you may either move the wares up to discipline. So you may move them, or you may attempt the Understand. If you move the no-nowhere subtly, you can keep the initiative. Of course, you can also choose to keep the initiative. I think there is a way to keep the initiative also. Hang on just a sec.
I mean, I'm definitely going to move subtly, so...
I think you can spend like momentum to keep the initiative if y'all really want, but I feel like y'all's dice rolls need the momentum more than...
Yeah, just a wee bit.
Yeah.
No offense.
Just a touch.
The fair call out.
It is a fair call out. Man, I'm feeling the pressure because I feel like I'm...
You got two options.
Yeesh. Subtly moving the wares, I think.
Or that is a communicative 3.
Do I use that last momentum? I don't know.
You got 2 momentum.
Oh, 2, okay. Then I use 1, I think.
Okay.
Can I use the same? Can I use the same drive as before, or do I have to?
Yeah. You can keep using the same.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So my target is 12. Boom, skirt.
Believe in you.
1, 7, and 11.
Woo!
You managed to wriggle the no-nowheres further down negotiation. Now, subtly, so you're choosing to keep the initiative, I'm assuming, in which case it is Natalia's turn. Again, Alice weaving those words so quickly and tightly that you find the perfect place to jump in, cutting Sabria off. So you may attempt an understand or discipline contest.
Oh, we will be understanding.
Okay. Again, if this is any indicator of how many dice she's rolling.
I will use our last momentum.
I would say you may either use momentum or you may spend threat and give me threat.
Right. I will use our last momentum, and I will buy a dice, and I'm going to use understand and truth. So I'm going to tell her you need to understand the truth, that these are worth a lot of money.
Right.
So that's going to put my...
Are you out of determination?
I still have 1, because
Okay.
we had 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still have 1. Part of me, I don't know. Part of me wants to use that. I don't know.
I was just curious. I wasn't trying to sway you.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys need 2 more to finish the negotiation.
Yeah, so.
Right. All right. I'm just gonna roll.
Believe in you.
And a 12 and an 18 and an 8.
So how many successes?
2.
I also rolled 2, so roll 2. And I rolled 4, so.
Oh, I'm a double.
Okay. How'd you do that time?
1 success.
Same.
Pew pew pew.
2
Stress
success.
is real.
1. You begin
Let's go.
You begin to see Sabria and Natalia go back and forth negotiating the price of one of these wares. And you just see like Natalia just busting out statistic after statistic, schematic after schematic, economics lesson after economics lesson. And you see Sabria almost being impressed at this Mentat's ability to negotiate. as you do successfully sell another one of your wares at a good price. All that remains now are your damaged wares, and it is Sabria's turn. Okay. She will not do shit. Okay.
She's a little taken aback.
Yeah, she's kind of just taken aback. Now it is Zafir's turn. Yeah, I rolled
So
one success there.
As it happens. So the no wares
Or on discipline.
on discipline. Okay. Is there any influence going on at all? Just out of curiosity.
There's not none that are in a risky situation. Well, actually, hang on. Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to, at that point, it is a contest between you and Sabria on discipline.
Yeah.
And in that situation, I have X number that I'm using of my threats. I thought you should all know I had 2 threat apiece on all of y'all. I am down to 1 threat. Because as I'm getting ready to contest you. So be prepared.
Be prepared.
I am prepared.
We're gonna get DCMA'd, all right?
Oops, sorry, my bad.
You
Musical copyright.
You may either buy dice with threat. You have your determination.
Determination, yeah.
And actually, I think when it comes to these, I think you guys can actually, up to 3 players can assist with an asset test against her.
Oh, I guess I'm assisting.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to automatically spend that determination.
Okay. Is anybody else
now
assisting?
It's 0.
Anybody else assisting Zafir? Okay,
I will do it.
So Zafir, Alice, Jiro. There you go.
So I'm rolling with discipline, right?
Discipline and then your drive. Jiro and Alice, you will also roll your d20. And
I'm gonna use. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Natalia can also roll if you want to assist in this final sale of the no wares.
Yeah. I'll be like the last little.
Yeah, and I'm gonna roll with truth because just feel like it makes the most sense. I mean, so I got that determination 1. My truth and my discipline are 13, and that 1 die roll I did because obviously I know the first one is already spent on determination, so that second die roll is an exact 13.
So that is 3 successes.
2 successes. I got 2 successes. Yeah. Oh yeah, 3. Sorry. Yep.
3. The one.
Yep, 3. Sorry. Space for a second.
Jiro?
12. So another success.
Not a nat 20, but it was a failure.
Yeah, I got a 19, so.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I too rolled 4 successes, so let's go.
We are at a stalemate. We must do it again.
I got 2 successes.
2 successes is all it took to outdo my none. So with that, Zafir, after watching all of this, you finally come into this last bit, and with everybody backing you up to build that confidence, these damaged wares, not only do you all assure her, but you ensure that these will be repaired before the end of day, and you manage to sell all of your wares at a good price, assuring, 1, that you did not receive really, really negative trades that would have lasted forever, but a good funding for your house coming in the future. Having completed your first galactic negotiations, you have made a connection to the Landsrad, the great council of houses major. Hopefully, this is a good one. Whatever the results, you have learned a few lessons in the art of negotiation and will no doubt be useful as future leaders to House Nagara. She seems impressed. As she's aware that she probably didn't quite get the price she wanted, but there's definitely a look on her face as she saw you all working together. And you do see Zahn across the room. Kind of, it's one of awareness that you did well and almost bitterness that you worked together so
There is a small smile from Alice that, if one was paying attention, could probably intuit that it's towards Zahn. You know, maybe.
Mhm.
But you all arrive back at quarters, and you have the room as you arrive back at your dormitory after very successfully selling your wares.
I feel quite satisfied.
As do I.
Job well done, everyone.
Rousing success all around.
I'm very mentally exhausted. That was quite a conversation, but it came out the way that we wanted.
So with that, you all have this strong sense of accomplishment. The last few days, the last week, there's something about having your whole family here that just makes you all better as a whole. You need each other to be successful on Arrakis. As Shizu returns to the dormitories that night, sweating from the workout, hearing of your success, giving Jiro, only because it annoys him so much, probably the largest, sweatiest hug ever. Before you all kind of have a little bit of slight festivity just to yourselves, kind of reliving your days a bit of your younger years, goofing off for just a moment and forgetting the weight that rests on your shoulders, preparing for the next phases of what it truly means to take over Arrakis. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. Much less horrifying than last time.
Yes, I'm not in the infirmary.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and do the quick rounds for my beautiful, amazing player people. Let's go ahead and start out with Sherrick.
Hello, I am your favorite burb on the internet. You can call me Sparrow or A Black Sparrow. I am an actor, TTRPG player, sometimes director, podcaster, Twitch streamer, etc., etc. You can find me at sherrickrobinson.com, and you can also find me tomorrow on Feywild and Out. We'll be doing some more Dungeons and Dragons, or maybe some Monster Prom or something to that effect. That's twitch.tv/Feywild and Out. And with that, I'll pass it on to Natalia, aka Jess.
Hi, I'm Jess. You can. Oh, who am I? Well, you just saw who I am. Master of dumb puns, maker of dumb statistics off the top of her head, and general tabletop RPG player and an actor. So find me around the internet on Instagram, j.rancor, or pretty much anywhere else, Goblin Queen with 3 E's. I don't have anything coming up, but you should always come back in 2 weeks for this thing, because it's a roaring good time. And let's go, Jiro.
Oh, that's me. Hi, everyone. I've been Miguel. You can find me around the internet, Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Miguel_Classico. If you hit up my Twitter right now, you might still hit a fun poll I'm running to see what my next D&D character class should be. It's a needlessly complicated bracket that I made because I have time in Miro. That's it for me right now. I also don't have much coming up, but I am TTRPG performer, writer, editor, etc. So, hit me up for a collabo if you're interested. And then I guess I'm passing it over to Nate.
Hi, everyone. My name's Nate. I'm a photographer, designer, occasional GM. In terms of things coming up, I actually feel like I'm busy for once. On Friday, I'm actually running a community game of an early access PDF for the Blade Runner RPG, which is awesome. It's so cool. And then outside of that, secret projects that maybe involve sci-fi noir and maybe involve the Kindred of the Night, what wonderful music they make in the next few months. Who knows?
Secret projects.
Secret projects are fun. If you want to see me rambling about nerdy things, Nate_B on Twitter, and then all my photo stuff, just Indie Nate, INDIE Nate on Instagram. And Taryn.
Because I didn't do that earlier because I never care about myself. Sad emo face. So my name is Taryn, also known as Valrook across the socials. I'm a generally creative human TTRPG player and GM, Eldritch Entity, and dice maker under the moniker of Umbral Oculus Dice. That is UO_dice on the Instagram. I am back in my shop after moving, getting my shit going again, and it's cool. Obviously, you can catch me here every other Sunday with Agents of Dune, rocking some sandy socks off. This coming Tuesday and alternating Tuesdays, you can catch me over at the Red Hair Inn for the Ekbiom Expeditions, where I play a Hexblood Druid, and she's a little cinnamon roll sweetheart who's also secretly a really badass witch, and it's good shit. So you should come check me out there. And then coming up, actually later in July, I will be streaming a mini-series over there that if you like spoopy witchy things and that's your vibe, but you love Dungeons and Dragons and you want to watch me feed off the horror of my players, then please come catch me over at the Red Hair Inn while I do that with creepy dolls and witches, because that's my ish. In the meantime, thank you everybody so much for tuning in to watch this. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Session Zero Clothing. Order at checkout for 15% off of there with their D&D inspired streetwear. We've got Norse Foundry, artists and dice makers, among other accessories and badass shizniz. TIO 15 at checkout for 15% off there. We've got Mithril Armory, the 10 D20 puzzles that I will say this again. I kicked Cody Hill's Bobo. If you don't know who that is, ask Stiletto DM. She'll tell you and we can laugh together. I suck at them, however. Code initiative at checkout for 10% off there. And again, if you want to check out my dice and things, when I have them in stock, 10% off full sets with code initiative in there. So thank you guys. Yes, this is one of them that's so pretty. And I love them and I hand pour and polish them because that's what I do. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning into the initiative order. As a queer person in the state of Texas, I just want to tell everybody, get off your asses, go vote. Put up the good fight. We love you all. Everybody loves and supports you, especially here at the initiative order. This is a good, safe space for you. We love you, and we got your fucking back. Everybody have a good night. Much love. And let's come back for Dune and watch them not fail.
Woo!
Can't believe I got a 20 again.
Oof.